Hey everybody, it's John from the Hustle Daily Show. Before we get into the show today, did you know that HubSpot launched an AI chatbot that helps you build awesome campaigns at scale with just a few prompts? It's called Campaign Assistant, and it's a totally free-to-use AI tool made for marketers and business leaders who spend hours a day on content creation. Campaign Assistant will transform the way that you build marketing campaigns at scale. Craft personalized emails, ads, and landing pages in just a matter of minutes. Just pick the content type, add the key selling points, and let the AI take it from there. And the best part, it works seamlessly with all of HubSpot's marketing and sales tools to scale your output across email, social, and more. So AI your way into the most effective campaigns yet at HubSpot.com/campaign-assistant. All right, good morning, everyone. It's Thursday, December 7th. I'm John Weigell here with Juliet, Bennett, Rylah, and this is the Hustle Daily Show. In a rather unsurprising move, Morning Consult named ChatGPT as the fastest growing brand of 2023. But is it well received by everyone out there? And what other brands are near the top of that mantle? We'll talk about that in a bit, but before we get there, let's get you up to speed with everything else making headlines in the world of business and tech. We talked about brand of the year, now let's talk person of the year. Time named Taylor Swift as its person of the year. She beat out 8 other candidates, including OpenAI's Sam Altman, Barbie, and Vladimir Putin. What a set of people. And follows last year winner, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Juliet, do you think this was a well-deserved get for Taylor?
Yeah, I think it's well-deserved. I mean, I think there are a lot of people who were very influential this year, all the folks mentioned, obviously, but she did a lot of stuff. She had that movie in theaters that was kind of like bringing back theater traffic after the pandemic. I think you can make a good argument that she was very influential.
Yeah, agreed. I think it is well-deserved. She has just been kind of everywhere all the time. Congrats to Taylor Swift for that one. Next up, McCormick & Company, leading seasonings and spice maker, named its 2024 flavor of the year, which is tamarind. The company has 50 people devoted to seeking out trending flavors around the world and believes tamarind is about to have its big moment this coming year. So go out and get yourself some tamarind. It's supposedly going to be the hot spice next year. British American Tobacco is cutting the value of its cigarette brands by $31.5 billion to reflect diminishing values as more people quit smoking or adopt alternatives. Of course, you'd have to point to vaping as an alternative that's been on the rise in the past few years. So cigarette companies seem to be clutching their pearls a little tighter nowadays. Panera is now facing a second lawsuit over its charged lemonade drink. The latest wrongful death suit claims a 46-year-old man died after consuming 3 of the drinks. So Panera is in some hot lemonade nowadays. Please don't drink the drink if you decide to go to Panera. It sounds like it's not going too well.
Yeah, apparently it has caffeine in it and is not recommended for children, pregnant or nursing women, or people sensitive to caffeine, according to Panera's website.
Strange that Panera would be the one getting into something like this. I honestly would think that some kind of, I don't know, like maybe a Dunkin' Donuts would be a little more experimental in this route. I didn't expect Panera, you can get a bread bowl and you could get hopped
Yes.
up on caffeine. So,
yeah, it feels like a Taco Bell thing, you know?
Yeah, it does. It feels very Baja Blast adjacent. Yeah. Moving over to Google, their latest LLM, Gemini, is here. Gemini Nano is designed for Android devices, and Gemini Pro now powers Bard, Google's AI. Google DeepMind CEO Demi Hassabis claims Gemini topped OpenAI's ChatGPT on 30 of 32 benchmarks. So coming for that pedestal right now at the top brand of 2023. Maybe they'll be top brand 2024. Who knows? Everybody seems to be taking a swing at OpenAI, and we'll get to that more in a minute. And finally, I'm a big train guy, so this one is exciting for me. The U.S. Department of Transportation handed over a $3 billion grant to Brightline West for an electric high-speed train between L.A. and Las Vegas that would take half as long as driving between the two cities. So you don't get to sit in traffic, but you do get to just kind of hang out on a train for a little bit, maybe an hour and a half as you go from L.A. to Vegas. Not bad. A lot of people make that commute, so that save a lot of time over there.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever been on the same podcast where we've gotten to talk about our shared love of trains. But
you
also
love trains too?
I love trains. I'm a big train proponent.
Oh.
I can't drive due to a visual impairment, as some of our listeners may know. So big fan of trains.
That's fantastic. Yes, more trains. Now, on to our main story of the day. We mentioned up top that ChatGPT was mentioned as 2023's fastest growing brand by Morning Consult. Juliet, what did you find in your research about this today?
This was kind of I would say this was a fun report, actually, for one reason. I think when I first read it, I was like, oh, like I don't know, the top brands, the brands people like the most. That is not the case. It's kind of like Times Person of the Year, where it's like, it's not necessarily the brands we love or trust. It's the brands that have seen the most interest. So the way that they calculate this is they take the share of consumers who are considering, maybe not necessarily actually making a purchase, but considering making a purchase from a brand or using a brand from October 1st through 24th, 2023. And then the difference between that share and the people who said they were considering making a purchase between January 1 and 31. So it's not the brand that people are considering purchasing the most. It's the brand that saw the biggest positive difference between those two numbers.
Oh.
So, for instance, ChatGPT is the fastest growing brand of the year. That probably surprises absolutely no one. In January, there was a 5.9% consideration, which is pretty low when you think about a brand like Kraft had, I think, among Gen Z users over 30%. So only a small fraction here. But by October, it was over 16%, so a 10.5 point rise. So that's the biggest difference in like who grew the most in terms of attracting more potential consumers.
Okay, so who started the year with the least and was able to grow the most throughout the entire course of the year, essentially?
Yeah, more or less. And so, some brands, it's like, you're not going to have a huge growth because people either don't purchase you or they already purchase you and nobody's really thinking about it. Whereas ChatGPT had this meteoric rise, which Morning Consult attributed to the fact that in late 2022, they released DALL-E. We were all in there typing in things like a cat playing the banjo. I know I was. And then, of course, as the year progressed, all we talked about was ChatGPT and AI all year long.
Yes, we did.
So that's kind of how that works out.
Something I wanted to ask about this is that Morning Consult is saying that they're calculating brands that we're considering purchasing. For ChatGPT, it's still free, I believe. So that's a fascinating component that they decided to give ChatGPT, that even though I'm pretty sure there is not a lot of purchasing to be done on the platform.
Yeah, I think there is a pro version, and ChatGPT had talked about opening kind of like an app store where you could put your custom GPTs, but then they had that whole chaos situation with Sam Altman isn't the CEO, never mind, yes he is, etc. And so that is going to be delayed a little bit, but there will be kind of like an app store of custom ChatGPT applications.
What does Gen Z think about ChatGPT? Where do they kind of fall? Because I believe you had said that they actually love Kraft, weirdly enough.
They love Kraft. Kraft was their top growing brand, Kraft cheese. Well, I guess it's not all cheese, but I mean, it's mostly cheese, right?
Yeah, I think of cheese, mac and a lot of the time, but yes.
So yeah, for Gen Z, ChatGPT was actually the 5th fastest growing brand behind Kraft. NYX Professional Makeup, Holland America line, which I don't know, what is that? Is that a cruise line?
I've never heard of that before. Holland America line. Is that a boat that goes from the Netherlands
it's a cruise.
to? Oh.
Okay. See, what do I know? I've never been on a cruise. And Modelo is number 4, right ahead of ChatGPT. And Modelo obviously had a lot of buzz because it had become America's top beer for hot. It might still be, Kraft, the interesting thing, I was like, why Kraft? I feel like we all are like pretty chill about Kraft, but like, why would that be the fastest growing brand? Apparently, Gen Z is really interested in sustainability, and Kraft jumped in favorability according to the Harris poll because Kraft was doing some initiatives in its packaging. Plus, people just like mac and cheese. It's like a nostalgic comfort food.
I would really like for us to get to a point on this show where every time you and I are together, we just somehow end up talking about mac and cheese.
Happens a lot.
So this has happened again, and I'm very happy it has.
If any of our readers have tried the sodium citrate mac and cheese, I would like them to contact me and tell me how it turned out.
Please contact.
Yes, please just let me know.
And regarding sustainability as well, I did notice something else because you brought up a great point about Gen Z loving sustainability. In your report, it does say that Shein fell down quite a few points with Gen Z for being less eco-conscious.
Yeah, it seems like Gen Z was not interested in Shein, and millennials were kind of interested in Shein. And I think that's kind of an interesting thing that we're seeing happen here. Now, we don't know why necessarily, like we can't like go out and be like, hey, you, why do you like this and not that? But I think the speculation in the report was that, younger people are very sustainability conscious. They don't want to buy from a brand that's as controversial as Shein, which is not just controversial from an environmental standpoint, but there's a lot of like labor dispute stuff coming out. There's just a lot of concerning reports coming out about this company. But also at the same time, we are in a situation where we saw inflation go up all year long. Everything got more expensive. People started caring about their budgets more. And I think that makes fast fashion companies really appealing. If somebody's like, oh, I got to go to a wedding, do I spend $18 on a dress that gets shipped to my house, or do I go to Target and try to find something I can afford?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think people are like really valuing what they perceive as a deal and convenience, even if that deal is a dress that you wear one time and then you put it in the wash and now you just have a rag.
Yeah, it definitely shows that a lot of brands can change their image very quickly if they wanted to and put in the work.
Yeah, and we see that a lot with these beauty brands. You have a beauty influencer that people follow because they have really cool makeup looks and they're using this brand a lot, and that brand is eco-friendly and doesn't test on animals, and people love it on TikTok. All of a sudden, yeah, that's gaining favorability. That's gaining consideration.
Wow. So this year, ChatGPT is number 1, Starry number 2. Let's see what happens next year. I'm fascinated by this. All right, that's going to do it for us today, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning into the Hustle Daily Show. We're a proud part of the HubSpot Podcast Network. Our editor today is Ezra Trupiano, and our executive producer is Darren Clarke. We've got a lot more tech and business coverage in our newsletter. If you're not subscribed, go get yourself signed up at thehustle.co/email. We will see you tomorrow, everybody. Let me tell you about a show that I've been loving lately. It's called Entrepreneurs on Fire. It's hosted by the incredible John Lee Dumas. It's available now on the HubSpot Podcast Network. Entrepreneurs on Fire stokes inspiration and shares strategies to fire up your entrepreneurial journey and create the life that you've always dreamed of. I'm a big fan of this podcast. It has energy, it has value, and it's all about learning about entrepreneurship. I was just listening to an episode the other day. JLD interviewed Jay Rogers, who was such a wealth of information. He kind of went into how entrepreneurship chooses you. You don't necessarily choose it, and that failure only happens when you stop trying to win. A lot of gems in this one, so I highly recommend checking out that particular episode along with the rest. So go listen to Entrepreneurs on Fire wherever you get your podcasts. Hey guys, if you listen to the Hustle Daily Show on Google Podcasts, we want to let you know that the option will no longer be available pretty soon. Google is sunsetting its podcast app sometime in early 2024 in favor of YouTube Music, and we want to give you a heads up before it's too late, since that time's almost here. The Hustle Daily Show is available everywhere and anywhere that you listen to podcasts, like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you're using YouTube Music, we are there as well. If you're an Android fan, there are plenty of apps like Overcast, Pocket Casts, Player FM, and more. So just search for us wherever you decide to listen to your favorite podcasts.